And we're going to begin in Santa Fe in New Mexico, where police are investigating what appears to have been a tragic accident on a movie set, which saw Hollywood star Alec Baldwin apparently shooting dead a member of his film crew. It happened when he discharged what he thought was a prop firearm. It seems it fired a lethal projectile. The cinematographer on the production, Helena Hutchins, died of her wounds, while the director, Joel Souza, was also treated in hospital for injuries. Now, this is where the events took place, the location set for the movie Rust, a new Western. It's not clear what exactly was happening when the gun was fired. Reports from the scene suggest Mr. Baldwin was then doubled over and distraught as he left the set. He was later interviewed by detectives who said the actor provided statements and answered questions. He came in voluntarily and he left the building after he finished his interviews. No charges have been filed, no arrests have been made. Now, we're going to hear from people who worked with and knew the victims, and we'll look at the tight restrictions around the use of firearms in the movie industry. But we're going to begin our coverage with this report from our correspondent in Los Angeles, David Willis.
Well, according to the Santa Fe, New Mexico Sheriff's Department, 2 people were shot on the set of the Western film called Rust. In an initial statement, the Sheriff's Department said that officers were dispatched to the film set shortly after 2 o'clock in the afternoon local time, following a report that someone had been shot. And they later confirmed that 2 people had been shot when a firearm that was discharged by Alec Baldwin went off, striking the 42-year-old cinematographer, Helena Hutchins. She was airlifted to hospital but later died at the scene because of her injuries. And the film's 48-year-old director, Joel Souza. Now, he was wounded and is being treated in hospital. It's said that his injuries are critical. A statement from the production team confirmed that the incident involved the misfire of a prop gun and said that an investigation was underway. Now, Alec Baldwin is both the star and the producer of Rust, which is an independent film, and it's based on the story of the Western outlaw Harland Rust. Production of the film has now been halted. Detectives are interviewing witnesses at the scene. The International Cinematographers Guild confirmed Helena Hutchins' death and called it in a statement devastating news. We are supporting a full investigation into this tragic event. This is a terrible loss, and we mourn the passing of a member of our guild's family. So far, there has been no word on this incident from Alec Baldwin or any of his representatives.
David Willis in Los Angeles. Well, let's bring you a little bit more detail about Helena Hutchins, the woman who was shot dead on the movie set. We know that she was a 42-year-old woman who originally came from Ukraine. Helena worked as a cinematographer and had a growing reputation in the industry. Director Adam Egypt Mortimer worked with her, and he paid this tribute.
She's somebody that I met at a film festival in Spain. We were both there with movies we had, and I just thought she was so cool. She looked cool, she talked cool, and when we spoke for just a few minutes, I thought to myself, I'm gonna ask her to shoot my next movie. She just had that sort of sense of being an artist with incredible integrity and incredible sense of wanting to make art. And so we formed that partnership, and we made a movie together that was very, very challenging, very low budget movie that was very ambitious. And she brought so much relentless desire and ability to make it like an immersive cinematic experience. She would not let us shoot something. She would not let us shoot an image that she didn't think was beautiful and truthful. And she was Ukrainian, and she had this very European sensibility, which meant that she was committed to finding something transcendently amazing in any time she did something. And so she could be very stubborn in insisting that she was going to make this thing as beautiful as it had to be, and we would have to wrestle with making sure that she'd be able to do that. And it was really a treat for me to know that I was working with somebody who I could trust that much to be sort of poetic and talented and also very knowledgeable about her craft.
Adam Egypt Mortimer there talking about Helena Hutchins. Now, guns are still widely used in the US film industry despite advances in special effects and CGI technology. Strict controls do remain in place. Firearms are subject to both federal law and regulations in the state where the filming is taking place. In most cases, this means permits have to be applied for. Most states also insist certified weapons handlers should be on the set when any weapon is being used during a production. While live bullets aren't often used, the weapons do have the capacity to fire them. Blanks are mostly used instead to give a realistic impression. Well, to talk more about this, I'm joined by Australian actor and director Rhys Muldoon. He's used guns on set multiple times, including a new Netflix production he's working on called The Interceptor. And Rhys, just give us a sense of how strictly regulated the use of guns is, and any idea you might have as to how an incident like this could have happened.
Well, thanks, Stephen. Firstly, I'm so surprised that it's happened at all, but in one way not, which I'll get to in just a moment. But firstly, how strict gun controls are on a film set. As an actor, if you are firing a gun or someone is pointing a gun towards you, the armourer will come and show you the gun, show you that the firing pin has either been taken out or that the gun is empty or that it's a plastic gun, and show this in front of a lot of people. I mean, it's a little bit like the airline industry where everybody has to know that that plane is safe, and it's the same sort of thing with a gun. So if a gun is being used in any way, everybody has to see it, and the actor has to see it. And actors by nature are very trusting, but you are shown again and again that this gun and these are not bullets, etc., etc., etc. But in this instance, I think what's happened is that they have used blanks. And I'm only going on, this is my guess on this, but they have used blanks because that's happened before. And if there's a certain oxymoron in saying it's a prop gun. A prop gun doesn't fire anything. It's not a prop gun, therefore it's a gun. So if you're using a blank, it still has some explosive in it, but the shell casing has no bit of metal that will fly out, apparently. And it's 1,000,000 to 1 that a bit of that shell casing will come out, and I think that's clearly what's happened.
Rhys, would it be unusual for the director of the movie and the director of photography, the cinematographer, to be in very close proximity to the actor when he is discharging a firearm, presumably to be filmed?
I think, it's unusual in that it certainly sounds to me like it's a close-up, in that it's that it's going to be, the cinematographer is always there. The cinematographer is just capturing everything, no matter how close, no matter how far, they're there, right? The cinematographer is as close to the action as is humanly possible. They're like a superhero on set, make no mistake. And so for the director to be so close to the cinematographer is rare. Normally they're off in what's called video village, just watching the split. But in this case, what it sounds like to me is that it's a close-up of a gun, as in, if you can just imagine that my finger is like that they want that shot there and the gun going bang, right? Like a super close-up with an intense look at whoever it is and bang, and that something's happened, and that a part of that shell casing has come out. It's hit the cinematographer, obviously, and then I'm guessing it's either ricocheted or some part of the camera or the French flag, as you call it, or the camera box, has come off, and the director as well.
Now, Rhys, just time for one quick, brief follow-up. As I understand it, on your latest production, The Interceptor, you've switched from using guns with blanks to creating effects with CGI. Is that the way the movie industry is going, do you think?
I think it's almost definitely. I think, particularly after this incident, I think that it's a given. Like on the film I'm working on with a lot of gunfire, and the producers had a very serious meeting and decided to not go with blanks at all because they were inconsistent in that guns misfire. I mean, even in war, guns misfire, right? So if you're using, real humans in a pretend situation, and if guns are misfiring, you're going to have to do take after take after take after take, as well as you've got this 1 in a million chance of something going wrong. So they've chosen to go with SFX, which is a lot cheaper too, ironically.
Well, Rhys, we really thank you for your insights. Thank you very much for joining us on BBC World News.
No problem. Cheers.